Time for Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Well, not if you're Justin Welby. This is Wretched Radio, the social justice train. No, that's Marcus Welby, and he was a medical doctor. This guy is a bad practitioner of theology. He is
Good, I was afraid you were going to say theologian.
Communion. Nope, wouldn't call him a theologian. Well, he is a theologian, just a bad one. He just sent out this tweet for your consideration. If you happen to be Anglican, you're probably not going to cheer. Abuse of power from government employers, churches, or trade unions leaves a free fire zone where only the powerful survive. We must all adapt to create a just society where everyone matters. Wow, where do you begin with so many errors and so few words? Abuse of power from government, employers, churches, or trade unions leaves a free fire zone where only the powerful survive. Well, but abuse of power is unjust. That's what it is. This isn't a social justice issue. It's a justice issue, and people who abuse it are sinning. We must all adapt to create a just society where everyone matters. Now, this form of argument is getting a little bit tiresome, where you conflate two ideas. We must have a just society so that children won't starve to death. Okay, hold on. What do you mean by just society? And what do you mean by where everyone matters? The language that you're hearing in this is of the flavor of the concern that the Dallas Statement on Social Justice is concerned about. That ideas like critical race theory, ideas like black liberation theology, radical feminism, deconstructionism are all invading the evangelical space, which brings us to a bit of an update. Where are we at with the whole social justice brouhaha? Because it is a brouhaha. So where do we stand today? I would like to suggest that you and I stand out a little further than where I think the conversation currently is. The conversation still seems to be of one or two camps. And the one camp would be the Dallas Statement on Social Justice. That's the camp where I sit. On the other side, right now, it's everybody who's a cultural Marxist. They're a non-complementarian. They are into deconstructionism. That's, I think, where it stands right now. And I think what we are currently learning, at least what I'm observing as best I can tell regarding social justice, the Dallas Theological Statement on Social Justice accomplished a great work. And that work is definitions. We are now forcing the conversation to get fleshed out and even flushed out so that we can understand what everybody's thinking exactly, because I don't think that we should be thinking in terms of, here's the line, you're on this side or that side. I think on the one side, you've got the idea that justice is God's justice. The church is concerned about people getting saved. Yes, we worry about the poor. We can certainly work on those issues, the life issue, food pantries, clothing ministries, digging wells. Terrific. But that's not the mission of the church. The mission, the exclusive mission of the church, is to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's the Dallas side. On the other side of that line, however, I think you've got varying shades. And I think it's time now to start to understand, because this is going to happen in time, to start to understand where everybody's at on this. Because I'm not sure it's an either we or they sort of conversation at this point. Now remember, events, history happens in time. Things might change, but as we stand today, I think we would do well to just try to figure out where everybody's at on this shebang. Case in point, Kevin DeYoung did not sign the Dallas Statement on Social Justice. Therefore, he is a cultural Marxist. Well, maybe not so fast. Now, I'm not exactly sure where Kevin is at on this, which I think is exactly my point. At this moment, we don't know where everybody is at on this. And so we need to continue to contend for the truth. But I think where we're at in the process of this is figuring out where everybody is at. Do you know? I don't know, and I've been tracking this pretty closely. Where does Al Mohler stand? I'm not sure. Where's John Piper at? David Platt. He preached social justice, I think erroneously based on Amos chapter 5. Where's he at? I don't know. Do you? Is he suggesting that we need to start voting for Democrats because social justice is more important than the life issue? I tend to doubt that, but I don't know. And so before we use this as a statement of orthodoxy, now, make no mistake about it, if we're going to add to the gospel and truly make this a gospel issue, then we got some more serious issues going on. But as it stands right now, I think what we've got is a bunch of confusion and some of the settling that needs to happen before we draw more clear-cut lines between orthodoxy and heresy. Case in point, Kevin DeYoung, who didn't sign the Dallas Statement, writing for the Gospel Coalition, is social justice a gospel issue? That's a big question. Now, Kevin DeYoung didn't sign the Dallas Statement, so he's going to say definitively, absolutely, it's a gospel issue. Not. Here's what he said. It depends on what you mean by social justice and what you mean by gospel issue. And then he goes on to define it. Now, Kevin didn't sign the Dallas Statement, but tell me if he sounds like a wild-eyed, radical cultural Marxist. If social justice, he writes, entails specific policy proposals, certain candidates we should or shouldn't support, and definite conclusions about economic and racial disparities, mass incarceration, immigration reform, and a bunch of other debatable topics, then we ought to be extremely cautious about linking something as politically prescriptive as social justice with something as universally salvific as the gospel. Now, that's the way Kevin DeYoung tends to talk. He's not quite as, well, let's say aggressive as you and I might be. But did that sound crazy to you? Was he endorsing open borders? I don't think so. Was he making a claim that there is systemic racism? No. The article continues. Justice as a biblical category is not synonymous with anything and everything we feel would be good for the world. Doing justice means following the rule of law, showing impartiality, paying what you promise, not stealing, swindling, taking bribes, not taking advantage of the weak because they're too uninformed or unconnected to stop you. Would you argue with that? I wouldn't. So he writes, for simplicity's sake, let's take biblical social justice to mean something like treating people equitably, working for system and structures that are fair, I think maybe as an individual but not as the church, and looking out for the weak and the vulnerable. If that's what we mean, is this a social gospel issue? Now, would you argue with that? You might strengthen it a bit, but here's my point. He's not talking like somebody who's way out on the fringes on this deal. And I think that we've got shades of people who disagree with us on the social gospel or the social justice issue who aren't wing-ding, wild-eyed, fanatical, fascist, Marxist, feminist deconstructors. Are there some? Yes. Yes, there are. And they're easily identifiable. But not everybody is. Here's why I think this is important. We got to live together. I'm not saying we need to be together for the gospel or have a coalition. I'm just saying, Kevin DeYoung is orthodox. What he just wrote is not crackpotty in my estimation, yet he probably doesn't agree with me fully on social justice. So now I can't worship with Kevin DeYoung? I can't have dinner with him sometime? Do ministry with him? Eeks! We've got 2 major events coming up, the G3 conference and we've got the Shepherd's Conference, both amazing conferences, and there are going to be people at each one of them who disagree on the social justice issue. Now what? And I think the answer is, at this time, we would simply do well to understand that there are shades and gradations of social justice warriors. In fact, we'd probably do well to lose the term warrior. Where are you at on this? I think is the question we now need to ask, because the Dallas statement did a magnificent job of forcing the issue. We'll continue to try to define those terms next on Wretched Radio.